You are listening to the iHeart Movies podcast. In this episode, we explore the Mandela Effect in movies.
Hello, and welcome to the iHeart Movies podcast, where we talk all things movies and then some. And on today's show, we will be talking about the Mandela Effect. Hello, and welcome to the iHeart Movies podcast, where we'll be talking about all things movies and then some. And on today's show, we will be talking about the Mandela Effect.
Jimmy, two times.
That was my line.
Gotcha. But before we get to all that, introductions are to be had. My name is Jimmy, right? That's it.
Hi, Jimmy, right? That's it.
That's it.
I'm Timmy, correct, I think.
And then we have
The Weeping Willow.
Monkey.
And I'm Addison.
There you go.
I think we're off to a good start.
Yes, this is our weirdest intro for sure.
Yes.
So we'll be talking about the Mandela Effect, which, in case you do not know, according to Medical News Today Encyclopedia, the Mandela Effect is a phenomenon where a large group of people remember an event or detail differently from how it actually occurred, often leading to widespread false memories. Now, why is it called the Mandela Effect? Well, that's because let me see here. It was named after Nelson Mandela, whom many mistake that he died in the 1980s when he did not. He actually died in 2013 at the age of 95. Now, there's lots of different versions of the Mandela Effect that you might remember incorrectly. A lot of it could be simply the name of a product, of a brand, a logo that you remember. Misremember. But since this is a movie podcast, we'll be mainly talking about how people misremember things from movies. But before we get to that, some examples include, fellas, the Monopoly Man. Does he or does he not wear a monocle?
He does not.
He does not. However, in Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls, he does.
Yeah.
But he's not really the Monopoly guy as much as Jim Carrey is calling him the Monopoly guy.
He says, you must be the Monopoly guy. And I think that's where my confusion also came in, because this got me. I thought when I was going through the little test of like, which one is it? Is it this one or that one? I got it wrong. I thought he had a monocle the entire time.
And I think there's a little bit of cross-pollination with Mr. Peanut.
Yeah, that's what I think it is.
Yeah.
Mr. Peanut. Both have top hats. Both are sophisticated and cheap.
Mr. Peanut is not cheap.
Okay.
He's salty.
He's frugal.
He makes peanuts.
Oh, right.
Compared to everybody else.
The cheapest nut around. Buy it in bulk.
Curious George, does he or does he not have a tail?
He does not have a tail.
He doesn't have a tail.
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Which is weird.
He does not have a tail.
He is not technically a monkey.
Yeah.
It's also true.
Neither are you.
Yeah, he's... Yeah, so he's an ape. He's a little chimpanzee. Chimpanzees do not have tails. Correct. So my problem isn't that people are remembering that he has a tail, because he doesn't. Is that they I think in his little song he's like the curious monkey. He's not a monkey. He's an ape. There is a difference.
Mm-hmm.
So we could have a Planet of the Curious Georges?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like that movie.
I wouldn't. He's freaking annoying.
What? Really?
Curious George.
The paint
And the man-
all
and the
over
man with the-
walls.
The man with the hat freaks me out, too.
The yellow hat man in the yellow hat?
Will Ferrell?
Man in the yellow hat. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he did voice him in the movie, huh?
Yeah, he did.
They gave him a name, finally, in that movie. It was like...
I didn't see it. I just know that Will Ferrell voiced him because I remember from the trailers.
It's like Ted something.
Ted Lasso.
Malamar.
That's it? That's
Ted
it?
Marshmallow.
He got it. All right, is it the Berenstain Bears? Is it the Berenstain Bears?
Berenstain.
Well, I think you said something very similar, because I always thought it was the Bernstein Bears.
You thought Bernstein?
Bernstein Bears. But it's Berenstein Bears.
Like Berenstain.
It's Berenstein?
I think.
Like Frankenstein?
I just know it's Baron. I don't know about Stein or Steen.
Monkey?
I honestly can't remember. That's the thing. But I know like there's two that have been discussed, and I honestly can't remember like how it was said to me. But I obviously was going by how it was said to me.
Yeah.
In elementary school.
So it is the Berenstain Bears.
Berenstain.
Yeah. Right. Berenstain Bears.
Berenstain.
Here's the thing.
I'm pretty sure I thought it was, I probably thought it was Bernstein.
Bernstein.
Yeah. Bernstein. Yeah. Bernstein Bears. Bernstein Bears. Bernstein.
For me growing up, it was Berenstain. And I think most people, yours was Berenstain too?
Because they're bears.
Because they're bears. And not only, growing up in Pennsylvania, there was a theme park called Dorney Park, and they had meet and greets, and I have pictures with them and all that. So they meant something to me personally, and I had their books and everything. And it's like, the teachers would say it, my mom would say it, friends would say it, everybody, Berenstain Bears. We were all on board, and we were all wrong. But here's the thing, doing some research for this, there has been plenty of misspellings in, say, newspaper clippings, book reviews, book printouts, and things of that nature, but not the actual book. But in everything else, even news anchors talking about it or whatever, they also say Berenstain Bears. So we're all Mandela-ing here because everybody remembers it that.
Just wrong. Yeah, and there was also a cartoon that I used to watch.
Yes. Yeah, because it's Father Bear, Mother Bear, Brother Bear, Sister Bear, and they say their names. They say it.
Father, mother, sister, brother, we appreciate each other.
Cute. So cute.
It was the original Bluey.
I love Bluey.
I got this one wrong. Kit Kat. Does it or does it not have a hyphen?
It does not.
Are you sure?
I thought it did.
I don't think it does.
You don't think it does?
No. I can see it. I can see it either way.
It does not.
Okay.
Oh.
When I got that, I could have sworn if you had told me Kit Kat, boom, put that hyphen in there. Yeah, so Washington University memory expert Dr. Henry Roedinger III.
Good name.
Yeah.
Roedinger's Law.
People inference events that they remember. They actually remember their inferences. So in other words, in layman's terms, you remember remembering something. You don't actually remember the thing that actually happened.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
That is correct.
Yeah. So it's like that's the easiest way to explain it.
That is correct.
Yeah. Well, because there's a psychological sort of thing, like a thought experiment, like on who you are. It's getting kind of existential, but it's like one thing: are you your body? Your cells regenerate. All your cells over the course of 7 years. Mm-hmm. So that means you at no point are older than 7. Then, okay, well, if it's not, then I'm not my body, my age, an arbitrary number, or my thoughts, my mind. So where's the mind in the brain? I had a psychology professor who had said that he had a book that was a brain that was sliced into cells, and you can basically turn the page and look at all these different chunks of a human brain, and at no point could you point to where the mind is. So it's where is it in the brain, because we feel like it's in our brains, and so it's like where's the mind, what are our thoughts, and then if we have certain memories, is that data that's stored and it's existing there and you can look at it and you're dusting off an artifact that is a memory in your brain? Or are you just conjuring something using data that you have stored to create a memory? So your memories aren't even backlogs into history. You're just regenerating something in your brain in real time in the moment.
It's like you're remaking, it's like your brain is constantly creating remakes of an event that happened.
It's all copies. Everything's a copy.
I wouldn't even necessarily say copy, like almost in the sense of like if Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol, and there's so many iterations of it, but it's all the same story, all the same characters, but we're seeing all these different renditions of it. Imagine if that's like someone's memory of the story, and we're just seeing all these different versions of it because that's quote unquote a memory. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's a memory of a memory, not the actual memory.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because then it's like you have the memory of the memory, but because you're looking at something that's a moment in time, you don't have a real world reference that you can refer to, like a Kit Kat bar. You can look at the image and go, oh, I misremembered that. I wasn't paying enough attention because something like a hyphen is something that you could easily overlook.
Yeah.
But you might have memories about Kit Kats, or think it's your favorite candy, or you hate Kit Kats, or you got it during Halloween. So you've been exposed to it a lot. So you feel like you should know this candy bar, but you're wrong about that one little fact. And it seems like a really weird test. Like, why would that be a question in life? Like, I feel like it's a weird thing to, like, you can look at both of these graphics and go, oh yeah, both of those work. Which one's the original? One is a hyphen, one doesn't. And I don't think that means, you know, I don't necessarily find it weird that people either remember it. You know, like, I almost feel like they're making a choice in the moment to what feels right.
It's almost like your brain, it's like a defense mechanism to provide an answer to somebody, whether that answer is right or not right. It's you know, it's like, I know this is conviction. Like, this is what I know, to share that information with somebody else, whether it's what you actually remember or a memory of what you remember.
Yeah, I was having a brain meltdown a lot of the time too, because I was wrong for a couple of them, and that just makes you then question your own, I don't want to say necessarily sanity, but your own memory.
Yeah.
And it's like, so if you are a collection of memories that cause your behavior moving forward, if those are wrong, then you know, like, I'm freaking myself out now just thinking, just talking about it.
It's like, then who am I?
Exactly. Who am I?
Who am I?
Who are any of us?
Yeah.
There's a glitch in the matrix.
Welcome to the I Heart Psychology podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So two quick ones here before we get into the movie version. So Fruit Loops. How do you spell Fruit Loops?
FROOT.
No, I think it's the actual word fruit and then loops.
So FRUIT, loops?
Yeah.
Timmy?
Yeah, it might be normal fruit.
Normal fruit, FRUIT.
But I can see how someone would think the spelling you said. I've heard that before as well. So
FROOT? FROOT is correct.
Yeah?
That's how you spell Fruit Loops, cereal.
I ate that cereal almost every day.
The reason I remember that one is because the logo uses the
the
Fruit Loops themselves to spell. So it's four of them. So it's OO and OO.
Gotcha.
So that's the only reason I really I'm like, man, that better be right, because I ate that. That was my favorite cereal growing up.
Me too.
Man. And then
Follow your nose.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to.
I was going to say it good. Sorry.
Carmen Sandiego, what color was her jacket and hat?
Isn't it red?
Red? Are you sure?
It's yellow.
Not sure.
Whoa. No, that's Dick Tracy. Hold on. It's red.
Are you sure?
I'm not sure.
It was in the cartoon.
In the timeline you're from, which is apparently this one, because yes, it is red.
I'm not going to lie. I was like, I think I'm going to go home.
So yeah,
I was going to have a meltdown.
her logo is yellow, and she has yellow in her hat, but the actual jacket and hat itself is red.
Red. Mm-hmm. That's what I thought, yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to use those examples specifically because now we're going to talk about the mother of all Mandela effects.
Shazam?
Shazam. Starring Sinbad.
Yes. Yeah. He is not a genie.
Isn't he?
No.
Isn't he?
No.
So he has real world magic where he can make 100 million VHS tapes disappear.
So, yes, because this is something we've talked about years ago.
Right.
But I always I had this memory of him dressed as a genie.
So did I.
I looked it up, and sure enough, there was a made-for-TV thing that he did in the 90s where he was dressed up as a genie, and I'm like, I must have seen this.
Yeah.
And then, along with thousands of other people, created this Shazam movie that doesn't exist.
Nope.
Yeah.
Kazam
Kazam starring
Shaquille O'Neal.
The thing is I have this memory of both.
I do too.
And in it, I remember thinking, I don't want to see Kazam. I want to see Shazam.
Yeah.
I felt like Kazam was a parody of Shazam. That's what I thought.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a vague recollection of Shazam, where it's just like if somebody said, did this movie exist? It was like, oh yeah. Oh, with Sinbad? Oh yeah, that came out around the time as Kazam. That's why I remember it.
Twin films.
Like it was a twin film. So it's like,
the 90s were all the rage, twin films.
Oh, yeah. Armageddon, Deep Impact, Bug's Life, and Ants. And then
Volcano,
Shazam,
Dante's
and,
Peak.
Yeah, Shazam and Kazam. That was the other one.
Yeah, it just fits. It feels right.
Yeah.
Sometimes things just feel right, even though they're
Babe and
factually incorrect.
What was that other
Gordy.
one?
Okay.
Okay. All right.
You jumped the gun. You jumped the gun. That gun beat.
Jump the shark. I jumped the shark.
You jumped the pig. Sorry, you jumped the pig.
What happened?
You'll see.
Okay.
You'll see.
We all will.
We all will. Yeah, so he dressed up as Sinbad, the pirate, the sailor, in the Harryhausen film marathon for TNT. And he looks and is dressed as what most people assume looks like what a genie would dress like. And yeah, so those aired on TV all the time. And it's back in the day when they had those TV bumpers and hosts and whatnot. So yeah, we've all probably seen it. Even if we didn't watch those movies, they had commercials for it. And it was sort of this, for those too young enough to remember, it was sort of this thing of like, hey, come watch this movie with me. And they give little insights and information of the films in between the commercials, which is pretty cool. In All That, the Nickelodeon show, Sinbad guest starred on an episode in 1996 where he played Kenan Thompson's father named Ishbu, where he wears shiny gold clothing and wears his hair up and speaks in a foreign accent. He had the power to hypnotize people with a jewel that he swung around on his necklace. In other words, it sounds like something the genie would do. It's like magical powers.
I looked at that clip, but visually that doesn't connect with my memory of
the movie
Shazam,
of the non-existent
Shazam. Not to get mixed up with the DC Shazam, or even
the Marvel Shazam.
Do you remember the not 90s? There was a cartoon they played. I'm pretty sure on like Cartoon Planet on Cartoon Network of this boy and girl, and they had a genie named Shazam, where they went on like adventures.
No
one remembers this cartoon.
There's Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
No, this predates that.
Okay.
By a great deal. Oh, you know what? You guys don't remember because I'm older than you. That's right.
Yeah.
That's why you don't remember this. I'll show you later.
Huh.
Well, I'm an old man.
In the 60s, there was a cartoon called Shazam with an N. And maybe that's
maybe that's what I'm referring to then. Shazam?
Shazam.
Oh, that just means I can't read. And as a child, I couldn't. So
and honestly, it's probably only called Shazam because of the copyright of Shazam between either DC or Marvel, whoever actually owns that. I guess it would be DC. But yeah, for those that don't know, Captain Marvel from Marvel originally was from DC because his name was Captain Marvel, but then DC got sued because that character was basically now I'm confusing myself.
You're confusing yourself. So Shazam, the DC character Shazam was originally called Captain Marvel.
Right.
Now, I don't know this for sure, but I did notice that the character Captain Marvel, and for the DC character Captain Marvel, lost the name Captain Marvel right around the time Captain America came out in theaters. And I think at this point, DC finally gave up having the rights or using that name just because they didn't want to confuse audiences with the fact that major motion pictures were now being made. And they decided to make a conscious effort to change the character's name to what he says to turn into Captain Marvel. He would say Shazam. So it's like, well, let's just call him Shazam. But this was like an ongoing problem between DC and Marvel.
For decades.
Yeah. And they also had that bit in the movie where they couldn't figure out what his superhero name should be, like throughout Shazam.
Yeah, because he can't say his own name because that's the magic word that causes him to transform. So yeah, my favorite part in that movie is when he's saying to his brothers and sisters, like, "Hey, say my name," and they go, "All right, Billy," and they go, "No, not that. Say this. What I have to say to transform into this?" And they're like, "Oh, Shazam!" Because he can't say it. So it's a cute moment. So Sinbad, the comedian, being such a good sport about all this, he actually teamed up with College Humor.
Yes, I heard about this.
And he made a funny little 3-minute short about him playing a genie in the movie. What's great though is that as I was watching the clip, I was like, "Oh, this is hilarious!" But I started noticing and spotting a couple things here and there because the way that the clip plays is as if you're watching a VHS tape. And that's been recorded over several times, so it's got that static. And every now and again, there's like a commercial that'll just sort of pop up. And during that, one of the commercials that pop up is Fruit Loops spelled Fruit.
Oh, those jerks!
Yeah,
clever.
It is Carmen Sandiego wearing a yellow jacket and yellow hat. There's a candy wrapper. It's Kit-Kat. In it. The kids are reading a book. It's Curious George, and he has a tail. So that's what, and there's also the Berenstain Bears book in there.
These are all commercials in this?
No, these ones are like actual items that are in the attic where these kids find the genie lamp where Sinbad pops out.
So they had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah,
they had a lot of fun.
I guess I should have said the premise was that the kids are going up to the attic. It sounds like their dad passed away, maybe, because they're going through it. Like there's a box that says like dad's stuff or whatever. So that's what they're pulling out, and they pull out like a Monopoly game, and he has the monocle and everything. And I was like, that's pretty clever. Yeah, that's pretty clever. I love that they went further with it.
Maybe not that he passed away, but it could be that he left, because that scene sort of happens in E.T. when they're going through a box of dad's stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, which I guess would make sense too with the timeline because it would have been the early 90s. And
Mandela Effect for E.T. And I'm going to bring it up.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Bring it up
I know what you're talking about.
E.T. does not say E.T. phone home.
Yes.
He says home, phone. And Drew Barrymore says E.T. phone home.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely didn't know that.
The only reason why I knew that is because we had all talked about this a long time ago, and that was one of the. I think you're the one who brought it up that was the incorrect line.
Because I know because I've obviously seen E.T., but I've seen it multiple times, and I remember that scene in particular because he sounds weird when he says E.T. home phone. Because he's really struggling to speak English words.
Sorry.
This is new. It's new to him.
Yeah. The memory of him trying to speak human words is more prevalent than people saying like, "Oh, E.T. phone home. Oh, E.T. phone home." You know, it's just like, oh yeah, it's a common misquote. But I feel like I would even say it because I knew what the reference was, but I know that's not what he said.
And I'd only seen the film one time because the ending freaked me out too much. Like
of
with
E.T.?
Yeah.
Like E.T. leaving the
It
planet?
like scarred me. No, not
or
him
the
leaving
E.T.
the planet,
dead.
but in the
Spoilers.
operating room, like all that, like that craziness.
Oh yeah,
I did
he's
not
sick.
like. Yeah, I didn't like any of it because he's like screaming. The kid Elliot's screaming, and I'm like, nope. So as a kid, it freaked me out, and I never watched it again.
Wow.
Did you watch it like the end? Because that was the original ending, and then they put the happy ending.
Oh no!
In your version, does E.T. live?
In your timeline.
No, he dies.
Are you being serious?
Is that a Mandela effect?
Oh,
So
I don't think you finished the movie.
I feel like you didn't finish the movie.
Yeah,
Did you finish the movie?
Probably not then.
That's why.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Why'd you stop there?
Because it freaked me out, and I was just done.
Okay.
Poor child.
If you ever want to see me cry, put on E.T. The ending of E.T. gets me I can't not cry when I see the ending of it. And I don't want to tell you what it is now.
I don't want to ruin it for you either.
Yeah.
Holy crap. You just blew my mind with the fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've seen E.T. quite a few times. I just can't I turn it off when it gets to that emergency room thing.
So you thought...
Dude, the movie, like, there's like 20 more minutes of movie.
Probably. Yeah. It scarred me when I was a kid.
Whoa.
Wow. Because, that was, and like the big thing about E.T. was that movie, the ending of it was essentially just added onto it. Because they're like, oh, we really don't like this dismal ending where we have this gift from above and we let it die. Let's try to save E.T. So when they had test screenings, audiences hated E.T. So then Spielberg had to think quick, and then they came up with the new ending. It is amazing that you decided to stop watching where it had originally ended, essentially.
Yeah.
The dismal, sad ending.
I have trouble believing that was the original ending.
No, is this news?
It's news to me. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've heard that for a very long time. Where
I feel like you've been lied to. I'm just saying, like, why would anyone make that movie with it ending there? That makes no sense to me whatsoever.
We're having a Mandela Effect right now.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know.
It's this lie.
I don't know what's happening right now.
Or is Timmy just having Timmy and I would both be having a Mandela Effect.
So from Screen Rant.
Yes.
It's a reliable source, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
E.T. the Extraterrestrial was originally supposed to have a much different ending. To end much differently. Steven Spielberg.
Oh, that's right. I was there for the test screening.
Robert McNulty, who played Elliot's older brother Michael in the film, revealed the movie's ending was originally much different in the script, and he understands why it was changed. So he says, the last scene in the movie wasn't supposed to be the scene that ends up in the movie. The last scene was going to be all of us playing Dungeons and Dragons again, except this time Elliot's the dungeon master. Because he was the one that found E.T. He sort of got it with the group, and that was supposed to be the final scene. And then they would pan up to the roof, and you'd see the communicator is still working. In other words, Elliot is still in touch with E.T. That's weird.
Okay, so but that
makes
ending,
more sense.
That's an ending that fits with the actual ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does not fit with what he was talking about. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think you've been tricked into thinking that was the original ending.
I don't know where I got that then.
So you misremember what he actually saw. Think about it that way.
Yeah, because I remember there, and it could be just that they were saying that the ending was changed. So if they're talking about like, oh yeah, we had an extra scene added on there, then I don't know where I pulled. Yeah, they originally killed him.
And here's where I figured
warming movie of the summer.
That wasn't true because Spielberg made E.T. as a course correction from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And Steven Spielberg said if he had made that movie a couple years later, especially when he actually had kids of his own, he never would have made that decision. Because he was thinking about it as it was a young man's selfish reason as to why that character got into that alien ship. And with E.T., so that's why he wanted to sort of course correct the film.
So he just made another movie.
Yeah, he just made another movie.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to other misquotes.
It's not you're going to need a bigger boat. It is we're going. Oh, I'm sorry. It is you're going to need a bigger boat. Yes. Not we're going to need a bigger boat. And I think that's
from Jaws.
Yes. I think that's in reference to people like just being in a moment with each other. Something happens, whatever. And so they're saying what's happening in the current situation as opposed to saying the quote. I don't know that it's necessarily them misremembering what the quote is, although they are. I think they're just using a present tense. Or not a present tense, but like...
I also think it's more of a people like creating new quotes.
Yes.
Basing it off that. And I think that's been quoted a lot in just parodied scenes where they say we're instead of you're.
In looking up origins as to why people misremember things, 99% of the time, it's because usually some comedian or Saturday Night Live or whatever, or commercials do a parody version of the thing, and then it sticks. It sticks, and then people imitate the parody to the point where people remember the parody as if it was factual, not as a parody to something else.
Like Will Ferrell doing Harry Carey. I don't recall the actual Harry Carey. I think of Will Ferrell doing an impression of Harry Carey.
Oh, sure, yeah. When I hear the word Harry Carey, I think of him.
Yeah, I think of
not the real guy, right?
Yeah, that's a good
the imitation. Yeah.
I have no idea how I look right now.
Like Harry
If you
Carey.
were a hot dog,
Hi.
I'd smell myself in brown relish. I'd be so delicious.
We all know the moon's not made of green cheese.
What if we're made of barbecue spare ribs? Would you eat that, Dad?
Heck, I would. I'd ask for seconds. Wipe it all down with an ice cold Budweiser.
Hi.
All right, let's start. And we're moving on.
Okay. This one really tripped me up. And it's also really bad English in the film itself.
Okay.
So the quote is not, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get from Forrest Gump. It is, Mama said life was like a box of chocolates. And then he pauses and then says, you never know what you're going to get. So
well,
was
chewing.
It, right. So was was it Mama's quote? Also within you never know what you're going to get? Or is that him saying you never know what you're going to get in the moment because he's also talking about a past?
Yeah, you know what? It's possible that he's making saying that moment right there.
Sally Field says that as well when she's dying. So she says, life is like Forrest, life's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, he's right.
That is
true.
Right.
So when people are quoting, they think they're quoting Forrest, but they're actually quoting Mama Gump.
But she still says life was.
We're quoting Forrest, who's quoting Mama.
But he's misquoting then. That's what I'm asking.
Looks like we're all doing it.
Mandela-ception.
Forrest Gumpception. So Sally Field won an Academy Award, and it's arguably one of the most quoted Oscar or just speeches one ever. Do we know the quote?
You love me. You really, really love me. Something along those lines.
Yeah, except that's not also what she says. So like it's more of it's a longer sentence, and I always hear "like me" when I hear the imitation. And I think Jim Carrey says it in the
mask.
In the mask,
right?
It was like, yeah, that one character that he plays, it's all green. Not the Grinch. The Mask. Yeah, and he says that.
The Riddler?
Yeah. Oh, snaps. Oh. Are there more? Now I want to know.
That's the only thing that can pop into my head right now.
So you like me? You really like me? That's not the words.
No, we all know this, but it is a widespread thing. So I'm going to say it. Vader never says Luke before I am your father. So all those people out there, doesn't happen.
No, I am your father.
Even James Earl Jones, misquotes himself. I've seen a lot of clips of him saying, Luke, I am your father, in interviews and TV shows.
Maybe that's where it comes from. Maybe he started it.
In Tommy Boy?
Yeah, with the fan.
Yeah, so he's talking into the fans like, Luke, I am your father. So it's a bunch of misquotes, and then you find something that's where there's a parody of that quote, and it just muddies up the water, so you're misremembering it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hannibal Lecter never says, hello, Clarice. He just says, good morning.
That's a lie.
What?
I don't believe that one. I mean, I believe it. I know it's true. But I'm just saying for me, like when I read that on the list, I was like, because like the Luke Skywalker one, when I really thought about
There's never a moment where he says, hello, Clarice?
No.
Really?
Yes.
He says stuff that's similar, but not
Hello, Clarice.
not the way that we imagine him
He
saying.
says
I gotcha,
Clarice after he says a lot of other things, but he never says hello, Clarice. So he'll say, good morning, Clarice, that type of thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and I feel like I'd have to double check this one, but I think there might be something that is closer in Hannibal.
When he calls her on the phone.
Where he calls her on the phone, it's like, is this Clarice? Hello, Clarice. Da,
Yeah.
da, 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 da.
And I think that may have been put in there in
For
reference
that.
to the quote. Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember what because there's a bit in Cable Guy where he puts the chunk of chicken on his face.
Yep. A lot of Jim Carrey.
Yeah, a lot of Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey seems to just misquote things, and then we just quote him for the rest of our lives.
We're quoting him.
He's the one who's doing
misquoting
this.
Oh my gosh,
them.
Jim Carrey, you've
We should call
shaped
it
my childhood,
the
apparently.
Jim Carrey effect. That's what we should call it.
Scary Movie 2.
Take my strong hand.
He doesn't say that.
What's he say?
No.
He says, take my hand. And then David Cross asks for the other hand, and he says, it's not strong enough. He never says, take my strong hand.
Yeah.
Which my wife says all the time.
I was saying that was a thing that
She
like
says it all the time.
when that came out.
I did too.
Being in
Yeah,
school,
well, I mean,
kids,
I say
kids
it
would
too,
say that all the
but I
time.
mean, she says it more than I do. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Because I'd be like, yeah, take my strong hand. So yeah, people
Okay.
would say that all the time.
Are you ready for this one?
Yeah.
Scary Movie, the OG.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a quote, I see white people?
Yeah, I see two of them right now. Oh, you're saying the quote of the movie. The answer to that is no. However, only because I did research for this episode.
Okay.
I got that wrong.
I did too.
I'm like, no, he absolutely said it. I swear I'm willing to put $10 down.
What is it saying that he said?
He just says,
I see dead people. He just quotes
That's
Sixth
it.
Sense.
Is it in the trailer?
no.
No. It's not.
I don't know, man.
It's
I feel
not
like
in
that's
the
in the
movie
trailer.
po-
It's not
The
in the movie.
the
It's
movie
not on
poster.
shirts. It's not on.
Because he has the blanket, the famous movie posters, them
Yep.
in the movie theater.
And it says, "I see
and
dead
it
people."
says, I see dead people.
See white people.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But no.
But no.
And then in Scary Movie 2, the movie poster, there's another character and it says, I heart
Yep. Dead people.
dead people. Yeah, I absolutely got that wrong. I would have
Wow.
lost. I would have lost money because I would have
Yeah.
bet. I would have bet for sure.
So, did not know this.
Uh-huh.
C-3PO has a silver leg.
Yes, he does.
Did
Yeah.
not.
Oh, you never noticed it?
Nope.
Yeah, it doesn't. He doesn't become all gold until the very end, for the parade scene.
Yeah.
And then of course he looks proper. Obviously,
No.
for the films
No,
after that.
no,
He's always silver.
Not even then. He's not.
The only time he's gold is in episode 3.
Yeah, in Revenge of the Sith.
That is the only movie he's all golden.
Ooh.
Wait, you're telling me that the very end of A New Hope, he's
Yes.
not all gold?
No.
Correct.
Yes to the no.
Mandela.
Yeah. And all merchandising and everything. And yeah, Anthony Daniels has been very, very strong about this. It's like he's the one putting on the costume. He's always had a silver leg.
I know about the one silver leg because you see it throughout the film. Like I know that, but I could have sworn that was Mandela. I guess maybe it was just because he was all shiny.
Yeah.
And that was distracting. That's probably what it is.
Yeah.
And so
Well,
I
it's
assumed that the rest of him was
It's
gold.
probably the reflection of the gold leg in the silver leg.
That's what it is. That's
plus the sand.
That's the only way to make sense of it because I'm just saying, like, I remember him being shined up, and so I guess I just assumed that they gave him a different leg for that ceremonial moment. Okay, all right.
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah, no, but I'm just
You would
saying,
also-
like, he was
you would also
shined
think-
up, so that makes sense for that one silver leg to be reflective off the gold to look gold.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Next one.
Tom Cruise did not slide into the scene with sunglasses in Risky Business.
His
That
shirt
happened-
was also pink.
Yes,
Not
that
white.
happened in an SNL skit, and also this is the one I remember because I've actually never seen Risky Business, and don't ask me why this is the reference I have. But in The Nanny, the episode of The Nanny, Nigel slides in. I think his name's Nigel. And it stuck. That's what stuck with me as the reference for whenever I've heard about risky business. And
I think it's been done a lot. Like,
could have
sworn. I think it was done on like Fresh Prince.
The Simpsons.
Yeah, the Simpsons did one with Homer. Yeah.
So they kind of have one in Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. And the glasses, I think, in this case is pretty easily explained. It's because the poster got the sunglasses doing, this whole very 80s thing, like looking over the sunglasses. So I think people remember the poster and then remember that scene, especially because you see his back first as he's sliding.
Yes.
And then he turns around. So like we kind of mash the two images together. But yeah, I got that wrong as well.
I've got two more.
Go ahead.
This one blew my mind. This is a question for you guys. What does each character in The Wizard of Oz carry?
Okay.
What does each character in The Wizard of Oz carry? Like throughout the film?
At the beginning of the film, not what they get, not the courage.
Not that, but what they're carrying.
Yes. So
okay.
I'll tell you the one thing.
I only remember the Tin Man having an axe.
Okay.
Tin Man has an axe.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
that's it. That's all I remember.
What does the Tin Man wear? Right here. Right at his.
That's another one.
Right at his neck.
Was it the bow tie?
He wears a bow tie.
Okay. I may have not noticed it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't.
Because I know I have an answer.
Okay.
Dorothy has the basket, right? That Toto is sometimes in.
Yeah.
Yes. Timmy?
Well, because I really remember like the line, he's always clutching his tail.
Yes.
And then the Scarecrow has a gun.
Yep. Did not know the Scarecrow had a gun.
I would have lost money.
But I think it's only at the end.
Yeah, I only remember him having a gun when they're going after
the witch.
After the witch.
But I don't remember him having a gun at all.
No.
Oh, I remember that. But then again, I also just saw it recently with my daughter because she had seen Wicked and she wanted to see like the original Wizard of Oz.
So does the gun have screen time before they go into the scary forest?
Before the scary forest that I recall, no. I only recall seeing the gun the moment that they're going back to save Dorothy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so do I.
Don't remember a gun at all.
No, I don't remember a gun at all.
Final one. In the movie The Dark Knight Rises,
yes,
Bane does this quite a few times, and I never saw it the entire. It's very much it's more subtle than Brad Pitt's eating in like Ocean's 11.
Okay.
What weird thing does Bane do a few times in the scenes?
Say it.
While some people are sitting, I am knitting.
Bane knits.
Yeah.
In the film 3 times.
Just randomly knitting. Which Christopher Nolan said it's a reference to A Tale of Two Cities. Yes. Which I get the reference, but that's one of the reasons, as we discussed in a prior iHeart Movies episode, not a fan of that movie, particularly because I don't like Bane, and that's one of the things that I find absolutely ridiculous. I can never take him serious because he's knitting. So yeah, I noticed it because I noticed how ridiculous it is.
Yeah. You didn't notice it at all?
No.
Yep, I don't remember it either.
I don't think I noticed it the first time because it was really subtle, and it's just happening. It's kind of like an atmospheric thing, and then you're like focusing on other parts of the movie, and then you're like, oh, he's knitting.
I'm gonna look out for that next time I watch Dark Knight Rises.
My fault. Here's one that I got. Other ones that I got wrong. In Wall Street, what is the famous quote?
Greed is good.
Greed is good. Greed is good.
Greed is good.
Greed is good. He doesn't say that. He says, the point is, ladies and gentlemen, that greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a lot of words in between greed.
But I've seen it even on posters. So it's like with the quote, but then like ... greed ... is good.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like
they're paraphrasing for the poster.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they probably even said that for a trailer.
They just have him say greed is good.
Yeah, like they probably just use the greed is good.
Cut to good is good.
I'm
fairly
certain. Yeah.
Yeah. Field of Dreams. You're a big baseball
I am.
fan. If you build it, they will come.
No.
Incorrect.
If you build it, he will come.
If you build it, he will come. I've seen interviews with Kevin Costner himself misquoting his own movie. And he literally, there was actually I don't know what, it might have been AFI actually, but he was talking about how like that quote, and he misquotes it, has entered the lexicon and how it's important in American culture and whatnot, and he misquotes himself. Well, I guess it's not even him, right? Because he doesn't say it. It's actually Shoeless Joe that says it, but he misquotes his own movie. Yeah, and it's probably just voiceover, so he never hears it. It's just, okay, Kevin, react to a sound. But it is all about who he is, like whether is it Shoeless Joe, but it's not. That's not who he is. Right. That's not what the voice was about.
Casablanca, play it again, Sam.
Never happens.
People say it all the time. It is play it, Sam.
It's the name of an episode of Quantum Leap.
Yeah?
Yes, because the main character in Quantum Leap's name is Sam.
And there's a movie, a Woody Allen movie called Play It Again, Sam, about a film critic who is obsessed with Casablanca and Humphrey Bogart. So it's more of that cross-pollination, like other references that change the quote over time.
Yeah. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Yep.
People all the time say it. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all? She says magic mirror on the wall.
I find that to be really funny, too, because a movie came out that was literally called Mirror, Mirror. Yeah, they say it in Shrek.
It wasn't a Disney film, though, right? It was the one with Julia Roberts? That was a Disney film?
I think it was.
Well, I'll be damned. I thought it was just...
because it was the same time that it was Snow White and the Huntsman came out. They would talk about twin films.
Yeah.
But Snow White and the Huntsman is a more serious take on the matter.
Mirror, Mirror is more silly.
Very silly.
A little bit, yeah.
Tarsum Singh picture, but he did The Cell and The Fall, and he's done a lot of The Immortals, a lot of movies that start with the, evidently,
but not The Mirror Mirror,
not The Mirror Mirror. But he could have if he went with The Magic Mirror.
No, I'm wrong.
It's not Disney.
Relativity Media, and then so now it's Disney because it's 20th Century Fox.
They're buying everything.
Here's one that got me. Because I watched this movie for the first time recently, Dirty Harry. Right? Dirty Harry famously says, "Do you feel lucky, punk?" Again, The Mask, Jim Carrey.
Well, do ya?
So as I'm watching the movie and that part comes up, I'm like, oh boy, here it is. He's going to say it. And that's not what he says. He says, you've got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk? And it just doesn't roll.
No.
It just doesn't roll the same.
Our brain...
I've seen Dirty Harry 2 or 3 times, and that's just really wrong. Because you have to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Because you have to ask yourself this question.
You're remembering it logically.
Everyone forgets that line, I think.
I think that's the problem, is people forget that beginning portion.
And they just want to say, do you feel lucky?
Do you feel lucky?
Okay.
Do you? Well,
what do you, punk?
Yeah. I blame Jim Carrey for all of this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because also with...
But we love you, Jim Carrey.
That quote, that misquote, it doesn't have the same sort of cadence. It's like, well, do ya, punk? And it's like, oh yeah, that's the incorrect quote, because he doesn't even say it like that in Dirty Harry. It's really quick and sharp, where the other one is kind of like focusing on the plosive, and it's kind of like has a beat before he says punk. So you're kind of seeing the evolution of how
people
it is.
Trying to do an impression of that character.
Impression of an impression.
Like what that person or what that character would say. They're trying to do a badass version of that character.
Yeah. Fun little loop-de-loop here with Jim Carrey, or should I say James Carrey. If you watch a film called The Deadpool, which is, I want to say, like the 5th Dirty Harry movie, I think it is Jim Carrey's first film, and he plays James. His name is James Carrey, is how he's credited, and he plays this sort of live fast, die young kind of rocker. And spoiler alert, dies in the opening scene. Liam Neeson is in this movie. He plays a director who is he's directing the music video that James Carrey is in. And then
and Wolverine's played by
I was going to say Callahan, but it's Clint Eastwood. There's too many names. Too many names that aren't people's names. He has to solve this murder, and the Deadpool is because they have a list of celebrities who they think are going to die this year, and James Carrey's character was on that Deadpool list.
Yeah, I've not gone that far into the Dirty Harry films, but I want to. I enjoyed the first one.
Yeah, there's 4 or 5. Okay. Like there's like Dirty Harry, Enforcer, blah blah blah, something. I've only seen these movies a few times. I've only seen the Deadpool once, and it was on special on television. We're gonna show them all, and when I saw
Show them all.
When I saw Jim Carrey pop up, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna watch this whole movie. But then he dies. So
that's funny because in The Mask, he's imitating Clint Eastwood in a movie he was in.
Yeah, so it's not just that you have popular, like iconic character Dirty Harry, played by Clint Eastwood. They were in a Dirty Harry movie together. Jim Carrey and Clint Eastwood. So they are more connected than it just being, he's making fun of, this other good movie. They were in the Dirty Harry franchise.
Dirty Carrey.
Together.
Dirty Carrey.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Hi, I'm in this movie too. I'm Dirty Carrey.
I'm Dirty Carrey. Give me a bath.
I've been a bad boy.
I'm Dirty Harry Carey.
Dirty Harry Carey.
Someone clean me off.
I'd like an Oscar.
Hi.
Oscar Mayer. Hi.
Oh my. All right, so do we have any other personal ones? You think you said you had a story?
I don't have one.
I do have a story. We're going.
Go with yours. Go with yours.
So my story isn't so much a Mandela effect in the traditional sense, but this is a story that I once told you, which caused you to you wrote down, we should do an episode on Mandela Effect. So there is a documentary film called I Know That Voice. It's about voice actors who not only do like voiceover or dubbing, but will do cartoon characters and stuff like that. I believe it's produced by DiMaggio. I think he's one of the producers on it, and he's one of the people that you're following around. But they're following all these voice actors, and then one voice actor in particular, I forget his name off the top of my head right now. He's the guy who did the voice of Wacko from the Animaniacs. He tells a story about how he went to Disney and he was waiting in line for It's a Small World After All. And as he's waiting in line, he sees this kid in line in front of him wearing an Animaniacs t-shirt. And he's like, hey, you like Animaniacs? And the kid's like, yeah. And then he's like, I do the voice of Wacko. And the kid's like, yeah, I do the voice of Wacko too. And he's like, no, I mean, I'm the guy who does the voice for Wacko. Like, I'm the voice actor who does the voice of Wacko. And the kid's like, yeah, prove it. And he's kind of like on the spot.
Jerk.
Right? The kid does sound like a jerk. And he's like, prove it. And then he does the voice of Wacko, and the kid's like, that's not Wacko. And then the kid does the voice of Wacko, and this voice actor's like, and damn it, that kid did a better Wacko than me. So I'm watching this documentary, and as he's telling this story, I'm like 95% sure I'm that kid because I remember that happening. Oh. I remember standing in line, and It's a Small World, and some guy was all like, he points out the fact that about my Animaniacs t-shirt. And I remember this interaction, and I'm like, so I'm watching this documentary, and I'm like, no way. I rewound it because I'm pretty sure I was watching it on Netflix. I rewound it. I watched the scene again, and I'm like, I immediately start looking through photo albums trying to find myself in an Animaniacs t-shirt because I remember having one. I also knew I had a Looney Tunes t-shirt, but I was like, this was like, I remember this. I tell this story to Jimmy, and Jimmy immediately pulls out his phone and he's like, Mandela Effects. As in, like, this didn't happen. That's how I perceive that when he wrote that down. Yeah, no, like I'm like 95% sure this happened. Like if it didn't happen in the sense that it wasn't this guy, I had a similar situation happen at the same ride at Disney, which like I remember that.
Yeah.
Because I was either in elementary or middle school at the time.
You're a jerk.
Oh yeah, I mean, in that story, like as he's telling it, like at first I'm all like, it's not until he gets to the very end of the story that I'm like, wait a minute. So yeah.
I like how you just said, prove it.
I'm saying it how he says the story.
I know,
I'm reiterating how he tells the story.
Yeah.
I don't remember sounding like a jerk like that. I just don't. I do recall this incident happening, and I recall him saying to me that he does the voice of Wacko, and I remember because I was at that point in my life where my parents and my like other relatives would constantly tease me and lie to me all the time. So I'm having trouble believing some adult, especially an adult I don't even know, with this. Now, mind you, I don't recall his Wacko being horrible, but I also know that when I was especially like middle school age, that I was, before my voice changed, I was really good at doing impressions of stuff. So the whole arrogance of me thinking I do a better Wacko, that's totally in line with who I was at that age. But yeah. So watching a documentary where I feel like someone's telling a story about me was one of the craziest moments, whether it's true or not.
So in cartoons, a lot of cartoons, you'll say that they're, made for children, I think. And they got to entertain children. But, parents are the ones who are watching over the kids, who they got the cartoon movie playing. You got to keep them entertained a bit too. Mm-hmm. So there are some adult jokes, a joke for the adults in the room. Yeah.
Shrek, baby.
Yeah. And
all day.
And nothing vulgar. It's just that, like, oh, that's a reference to something that children would not understand because they do not have the capacity to understand that thing that you learn in life. So in the Aristocats, for those who aren't familiar, it's about cats, rich cats, and they're stolen away by this angry butler because the rich old lady is going to give everything to her cats, and not the butler. The jealous butler takes the cats and dumps them. And these newly dumped rich cats find themselves in the middle of nowhere, and they are found upon Thomas O'Malley, the singing O'Malley cat, voiced by Phil Harris, who also is Baloo the bear. What else did he do? Little John the bear.
Ricky Ticky Ticky.
And he's a cat in this one. And he sees Duchess, the mama cat, and she has 3 kittens, but he only sees Duchess. And he's like, oh, you're so beautiful. Your eyes are like sapphires. And really hitting on this Catwoman. As he's sweet-talking her, that's when the kittens show up. And he goes, oh, 1, oh, 2, 3. And he looks at the camera and he goes, man, that's a lot of baggage. All right, I said, I'll help you. And then he takes the cats to Paris. They have to get back to Paris. And I remember telling this story many a time about those little jokes that the Disney writers would sneak in. They've also snuck in other things, but
yes,
like half-naked women in windows, rescuers,
or penises in The Little Mermaid.
The Little Mermaid.
So, but this was more of like I would say an acceptable level of like, I saw what you did there, Disney. Okay,
yeah, that's good. That's a good one.
Doesn't exist.
Not a real scene.
No, the scene is there, but he never breaks the fourth wall and says, "Man, that's a lot of baggage."
Oh, okay.
But you thought it when you saw it.
Yeah, I distinctly have this. I have this distinct memory of it where it's just and the thing is like I remember getting the joke.
Maybe it's in something else.
Maybe like I would
and
have to.
You've now associated it with that.
Yeah. So it's weird that I don't know how I misremembered it. I know that I misremembered it. I don't know what led to that.
To the misremember?
To the misremembering. And it being in such a specific spot in a particular movie.
Did one of your brothers say it while you were watching the film?
I don't think so. I think at the time, like growing up, when we were watching it, our age differences and like our senses of humor, like I don't think anyone was at that age to make that sort of crack. I don't think it would have worked. But maybe
your dad did.
Nah. No, because that's a clever line.
And that was clever.
No. Sorry, Dad. Yeah, no, I feel like that, and I feel like that line is too clever for any of my brothers too. Frankly, it would be too clever for me at the time. Evidently, it's not, because I made it up in my brain as a child when I understood it, and I rewrote it into that movie, in that memory movie.
You remember remembering it.
See, I remember remembering it.
I feel like I've heard that line before in something.
Yeah. I asked ChatGPT to break it down for me. ChatGPT was scouring the internet and was like, can't find it, but it sounds like it might be a comedy. It's a good line.
Talking to
All
you.
right.
But yeah, I couldn't find any direct quotes, anything that was similar.
I just remembered. I remembered something now. And I've had this conversation with an old roommate who was a big fan of Family Guy. I remember a Family Guy scene that I don't think ever existed. I think I made it up. And it's like a whole scene, which is Peter Griffin all of a sudden like looks off to the side, and Al from Quantum Leap shows up, and he's like, "Why haven't I leaped yet?" And Al's, trying to figure out something. And then, I know they've had Quantum Leap moments on the show Family Guy, but I have like a memory of one that didn't happen. But like I clearly can see it, and it drives me crazy because of the fact that like I've looked it up, it doesn't exist. It's like why haven't I leaped yet, Al? That never happened. But I can picture.
Yeah.
It sounds like something that they would do, which is why it fits.
Yeah.
And you thought of it, and then you remembering.
Yeah, and it's they've done, like I've said, they've done similar things with Quantum Leap, but not this specific moment that I've thought of.
I don't know how, but this is somehow Jim Carrey's fault.
Sure.
All right, so this one involves this guy over here, Timmy. So in the 90s, movies with animals in it were all the rage, including pigs. Do we remember Babe?
Yeah.
The film in 1995?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Distinctly.
Distinctly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll do, piggy, that'll do.
Yeah.
That'll do, pig.
That'll do, right? That had a
the
sequel.
Shrek donkey moment.
Right.
Babe Pig in the City.
Babe Pig in the City, which came out in 1998. You were going to say, Timmy.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure Babe was nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah.
Really?
And especially, it was nominated for a few awards. Yeah.
Well, it's pretty good then.
Hugo Weaving
Better than I remember.
voices Rex the dog in Babe. There's quite a few famous voice actors, and I think the film was made in Australia or New Zealand, and that's why they have Hugo Weaving, for example.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, I gotta rewatch these, or do I have to watch them for the first time? Because Babe 2, Pig in the City, just called Babe Pig in the City, by the way, is not a movie I have ever seen, though I thought for decades I did. And I saw specific scenes that weren't in the movie that I thought it was in. And I remember specifically, it's like, oh yeah, Babe is dressed in like a little business suit. Because, Babe, he's the pig in the city now. He's not the pig on the farm. He's in the city. He's got the little suit. He's in his little office. They give him, he's signing, a pen. Do you remember this, Addison?
Yes.
Do you remember this?
Yes.
Yeah, Babe Pig in the City. It didn't happen in Babe Pig in the City. It didn't happen in Babe. Do you know what it happened in?
Charlotte's Web?
No. It happened in a third film. There was a completely other movie, which for the record was not a twin film because it came out the year before Babe came out. It came out in 1994 called Gordy.
Yep.
And I was explaining this, I was like, I remember these scenes. I remember he rescues a kid in a pool because he's drowning. Like, I remember these specific scenes. And as I'm explaining the scenes to Timmy, he says, oh, Gordy. And I'm like, what Gordy? Who you talking about, Gordy? We don't know a Gordy. What Gordy are you talking about?
We don't know a Gordy.
And he's like, no, the movie's called Gordy. Oh, who's Gordy? What's that about?
It's like,
it's about a pig.
And then I walked up into this conversation. What you guys talking about?
Did you really?
Yes.
Oh.
This was one of our first conversations that the three of us ever had together.
I'll be honest, I don't remember that. See, Mandela Effect right there. Misremembering things. But yeah, so I pull up the trailer and I'm watching it on YouTube, and those scenes are passing by, and I scream, Mandela, Mandela.
Oh yeah, because it's like exactly what he described, where it was a pig in a suit behind a desk signing documents, and he's going through this movie or the trailer rather, and you have all of these other things that are happening with Gordy and his adventures, and then there's like this sort of dream sequence where he's like mayor of the town or whatever, and it's exactly what he had described.
He's on the cover of magazines.
Yeah, and then that's when it happened. That's when it clicked.
I don't remember how, or I don't know how I could watch an entire other movie thinking it's something else when they clearly say his name in the trailer like 30 times. Like, they keep calling him Gordy.
Yeah.
Gordy, and Gordy again.
But like, if you kind of watched Babe or Pig in the City and then had also seen the trailer, and it's just kind of living there, it just sort of melded.
Now, I could be wrong, but I think in Babe, like on VHS, there is a trailer for Gordy.
So Gordy,
Hey, you like this animal movie? Watch this other animal movie.
I'm gonna go with no.
Like pigs?
No? Okay.
I'm gonna go with no only
like
because when I was watching it, I also did not know this. Gordy's actually a Disney film. Disney's very particularly at that time. They don't like to share with other people.
Who's Babe done by? Fox? Is Babe Fox?
I can fact check that. Are you going to fact check it, Tim?
Yeah, fact check.
Yeah, because in like many of us in the 90s, we had the clamshell Disney movies. And
the white case with the clip.
Yep, and it was so satisfying, and it was like it was a little extra big. It's like, it felt protective.
Looks so
of
good
the
on
thing.
a shelf.
Oh yeah,
It looked more like a book.
I love them. Yes, absolutely.
I think that's what they were going for. They're trying to make it like a book.
Yeah, and so to have this, what studio was it?
So the production company was Kennedy Miller Productions. It was distributed by Universal Pictures.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
I feel like I should have known that.
And the Kennedy Miller, George Miller,
which is
one
Australian.
One of the writers, Chris Noonan.
Oh, he directed it, didn't he?
Noonan and George Miller wrote the script, and it was shot in Australia.
And directed by George Miller.
Directed by Chris Noonan.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chris Noonan. Okay. So, yeah. So Gordy is a completely different film. And it almost feels like Gordy's a knockoff of Babe, because Babe I was all over the place. You're saying it was probably nominated for stuff, which makes a lot of sense. So it's funny that is actually the knockoff that got better acclaim than the original film that had just come out a year prior. So it doesn't feel real. Mm-hmm. It's like saying Mac and Me is actually the original one, and then E.T. came second. Like, that's not right.
Yeah. It was nominated for 7 Academy Awards.
Wow.
Including Best Picture.
Wow.
Wowie, wow.
I would have bet $1 million that it was not nominated for Best Picture.
I think it won like a special effects award, right?
Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah.
Mandela. Thunder. Lightning and a thunder.
Yep.
Lightning and a thunder.
Uh-huh.
Lightning and a thunder. Lightning and a thunder. Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out with us on iHeart Movies. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow, subscribe, and share with your fellow movie fans. Until next time, happy watching.